Straight. No, contact.
Hold the line.
5, 2, 3, 1. Yep, direct take, keep firing.
And we are live, boys and girls.
Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another No Man's Land. My name is Avitus, and I am joined here today with our fearless orc, Dark Leftovers.
Oi, hello, mate. How's you doing?
And our fearless leader, Razor.
Hey guys, nice to be here.
And our forever most special guest, Kaczynski.
Afternoon, guys.
Right, well, we have many things to talk about today. Some of the undead variety.
Ugh. I know Kaz is so excited about that. He's been like...
So stoked.
Indeed. You can tell it in his voice, can't you?
The ruinous powers once again plague Foxhole.
Yeah, let's not get ahead of ourselves. Let's start with something way, way more, I don't know, probably depressing, I would call it. The current war. Depressing for both sides, I would say. Not necessarily for one side. Which is the first non-biased thing to happen in this game, according to many.
I mean, I have to say I haven't really been playing a great deal this war. I've played the last, I think, 3 or 4 wars pretty frequently, so I've taken a little bit of a break this war. But from what I've seen, the line seems to be pretty static. I mean, there's not much going on really in terms of loss of ground and gain of ground. I think we've had Abandoned Ward since the start of the war. They've had was it Maiden's Vale since the start of the war. You know, you're getting fringe towns taken and things like that, but nothing crazy like we've seen in the last few wars, and that was to be expected, to tell you the truth.
Well, now we're starting to enter towards the official late game where the Warden's about to get some of their last tier vehicles, and then the tech cycle will start going to the vetting cycle. But I think right now it's like this because there's nothing interesting happening, or the tech trees wasn't really set up anything elaborate or whatnot. It was kind of like, I mean, I feel like the war speaks for itself. How, like, especially with any type of advantage we're set up, nothing was really given too hard to one side versus the other.
I think it's also a sign of the continuing progression of the community's knowledge of bunkers and the utilization utility.
Oh,
I mean, because we really have seen it it's been, of course, showcased the last couple of wars, but, tier 2 bunkers are available so early, and then, you get those up and it pretty much hard locks down ground, except for the most unbelievable manpower advantages against it. And then, concrete, even in the latest stages of the war, being so robust and so strong. I think that's really the. I mean, it's about the bunkers, in my opinion. The bunkers are kind of what's stabilizing the war and keeping it from moving.
So,
Yeah.
Just giving credit to Markfoot, it took him about a year or two, but he finally found the recipe to keep the war going.
Yeah.
Fucking scarcity didn't work. Like, what else? Like queues, they work, but not that much, But bunkers, oh boy.
Yeah.
They really did the trick.
Try taking the region and one up now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
When it's all bunkers. I mean, what you tend to find is, the last few wars at least, when we've actually got to the concrete colonial line, the colonials have already given up, and it just turns into PVE. But it's not. No, PVE is nice, but attacking a concrete bunker complex, even with nobody defending it, is an absolute chew. You know what I mean? It's not something to be taken lightly, and it's.
I'm going to move our slideshow here quickly because we already seem to be moving in this topic, and I think there's a thing that might have the devs might have sneaked past all of us, and I mean all of us. I feel like if you guys remember the bunkers, especially the complex that had like concrete and the speed at which you would get them in the past was way slower somehow, way more controlled. Like you would see these concrete mastodons show up once you had RT and you had a lot of explosives and satchels to deal with them. But now all of a sudden it's like, well, we're playing around with armored cars and there's bunker rifle garrisons that are concrete shooting you. Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah. You only need 240 mils to go through it before you destroy it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it definitely felt like concrete came online a lot sooner than in the tech tree, maybe, or some. I don't know. Maybe it's not that way at all, but it definitely felt like it's been
It just
around.
No, it is
Yeah.
100% because I think like early game, or fucking early game, the concrete mixer is unlocked, and once you get that, well, guess what? You start making concrete, boys.
But
And
it's this feeling that they sneakily moved it, down a bit, then down, because it wasn't something sudden. It didn't
I
feel
think.
sudden. You
I
know?
mean, I have an idea of why that might have been, and I don't want anyone to take this as the truth. This is just my sort of opinion on the matter. If you think about the past 3 wars and what has happened with the colonials and how they've pushed up, they've taken the ground. They've pushed into our regions. But they just can't finish us off. And part of the reason that they can't do that is because that they weren't able to secure the ground that they've taken. You know what I mean? So, like, they've had us hemmed in to our back region maps the past few wars, but they just haven't been able to build that concrete to secure the ground. And maybe that's what the devs were thinking. Maybe they moved the concrete up so the next time the colonials push and take all that ground, they can secure it, sort of thing.
so this one guy in the chat, I can't even.
Which is
attempt
I1.
Oh, it's I1. Okay.
Yes, it's I1.
Well, I1 speaks a good point that Tech 1 G supplies were there. So from the moment and this war started, if anyone made a base, they could already start planning what they're gonna do because you could start maintaining that base and getting the unlocks for it just from day one, and that's actually pretty crazy when you think about it. Because in the Spectrum, it would be like maybe like 5 days or even like 3 to 5 days
Mm-hmm.
IRL until G supplies are unlocked, and by then people weren't really invested in making these big bases. It would just kind of just be like it's going to decay, so we just won't need something to hold the line.
It comes to the really tough decisions that have been made with tech and with the way that they're experimenting with the tech tree that we're seeing like a few cases or a number of cases even where certain tech pieces are being unlocked in really bizarre and incomprehensible ways, or even in ways that there's no effective counters for. And so, like Rux mentions, this whole, the hilarious reality that you have storm cannons unlocked before howitzers. That's ridiculous in every sense of the word. Like that doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
And you look at tier 2 bunkers showing up on the scene, and you can build those so fast, or you were able to build those so fast this war and get them up. And yes, you technically can deal with them, but you don't really have an efficient or viable way of dealing with them. And it turns any progress into a slog. And then when concrete shows up, oh gosh, you really need heavy armor / FA firepower to punch through concrete. And that's not available for a long time after it's there. So,
I mean, one of our most popular tactics, I would say, these days is digging a siege trench like we did last night towards colonial lines. Now, the siege trench itself isn't necessarily what is going to take the base, but what the siege trench does, even though it's just a tier 1 trench line going under the ground, it absorbs a lot of fire from the base. And because they're this is a tier 1 base you can dig it with a shovel. You don't even need BMATs for it. And if you're willing to put let's say 1,000 BMATs into that thing just to repair it while the artillery is trying to kill it, you can absorb so much artillery and mortar rounds that aren't going to be flying at your infantry and tanks. And that just demonstrates for me how robust the bunker system is. Even with late game artillery, it's still quite robust.
It's just very cost efficient. Like whatever
Exactly.
you put in to destroy it is going to cost more than it took you to build it.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's real crazy because when you reach an area that has tier 3 concrete, it just almost stops you down to a crawl. And it's even if it's unmanned, you're still going to be investing 2 hours just trying to like either clear it out or trying to like get it remotely.
Defuse the bomb.
Yeah, pretty much. And it's just I don't know. It's just it sucks when that could happen 1 week in the game, and oh well, we have this the heavy AC now. Doesn't fucking matter. It doesn't even. I don't know. I can't justify.
Yeah,
It's
but
just so crazy.
Just imagine sitting in that thing, looking at that bunker complex, going, "This is fair."
Now,
we got this.
I didn't watch much of the dev stream, but the bits that I did watch, they were talking about introducing new earlier gaming HE type explosives, Bangalores and shit like that. I think they were saying. So hopefully that will help us
Mhm.
out early game with clearing this type of shit, because something does need to, be put in, something along the equivalent of like an early game satchel or something like that for dealing with tier 1 and tier 2 bunker systems early in the war,
I
because
think they just need to boost or change the stats on HEs because it's kind of like I don't know. I feel like HEs are kind of like
That's the role of HE. Yeah.
ignored.
maybe unpopular
So-
opinion here, but I feel like the howitzer on buildings, like I don't know, like when howitzer comes to mind, it kind of feels like it should be doing well against buildings, right? Aren't
Yeah.
You would think
howitzers
so.
traditionally excellent anti-building weapon? Like, and it's
It's supposed to be anti-structure in general.
exactly,
But
yeah, yeah.
in
And
reality,
I mean,
it
I know, and
Foxhole.
again, like, don't get us wrong. Don't imagine that we want a realistic, like,
see,
game, but at the same time, this is like common sense. It's like you would expect a howitzer. It's like what players would expect. And we're gonna talk about new player experience because this has a lot to do with what we've been discussing even yesterday, Dark, if you remember, when a player comes in, grabs an FA that has AG shells and he's starting shooting infantry with it because high explosives, right? It's good against infantry.
Yeah.
And no, it's not in this game. Nothing that usually makes sense in a way that would normally make sense in any other World War II or whatever type sort of game. Apparently, in the universe in which Foxhole is established, all of that stuff is upside down.
And you think of the math required, right? Like, because we've done this field test it in really high manpower engagements against some of the Colonials' best. But if we're up against a tier 2 complex, like a 2x6 bunker base, it takes us like 4 Howies and 150 shells to make sure we can take that out.
what I will say, even though the howitzer does minimal damage to buildings, it's at least early game, it's probably the best option for taking out buildings. Not because it does a lot of damage to the buildings, but it comes into another factor that the bunker systems have. It can kill people repairing it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or kill
That's the
people
other piece of
repairing
this.
Which is
I don't
exactly.
know. That's yes or
that's the
no
other big-
because you can go inside and repair with absolute safety. You know what I mean?
In bunkers, you
That's-
can. I was just referring to howitzers more generally for taking out structures. But yeah,
Town
you're
hall.
right. Even bunker systems are harder to take out than town halls. Tier 3, I'd rather rifle down a tier 3 town hall than attack a full bunker complex with all the explosives in the world.
Sure.
You know what I mean? It's one of those things where no matter what you bring, if you hit something like a clan base where they know what they're doing when they've built it as well, it is super hard to take it out. I remember an op a few weeks ago where we were trying to take out this bunker base. There wasn't many people defending it, maybe 5 or 6, and we had our entire clan hammering this thing. I took a gunboat around. We had artillery hitting it, and no matter where we went, there was one of those automatic howitzers that just obliterated us as soon as we got into artillery range. If we tried to push our tanks forward, they had too many AT guns. If they tried to push our infantry forward, there's too many machine guns. You know what I mean? So it's like, where's the weakness there?
Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to think. Where's the counter
Before
to something
we
like
get much
that?
further on this, I want to do one thing that I think is favorable in all this that I like, at least from a foundational perspective, is I love the idea of how the players have so much decision-making power of where the strong points and hard points are.
Yeah.
over the towns themselves.
that-
I think that is so awesome, and that you can create an environment like, and that's going on in Endless right now. The Colonials have this massive concrete bunker complex that's more relevant than the tier 3 town it's protecting, and that's kind of cool in one respect. Like, I don't think that's all bad in one sense.
I'd be struggling. I mean, I'm not sure about your opinion on this, Cass, but at least for me, for an infantry player, by no stretch of the imagination, do I think that bunkers were a bad decision?
It's
to put
fun.
in. I think they were a brilliant decision to put in. The only thing that disappoints me about things like bunker systems is they're so good to fight in as infantry, but you have so
Yeah,
little
yeah.
space to fight in them as infantry. You know, there's very, very few times where you can go into a concrete bunker system or something like that, and actually, you know, fight in it and, you know, clear trenches and move through structures and
Right.
stuff like that, and have gameplay inside a building. There's not much of that in Foxhole. It's
So-
only garrison houses, pretty much.
It's a simple fix, so especially what you're asking for, and I feel like it ties down with, because currently the whole bunker system is, the more individual bunker segments you put in, the more overall HP it is. And when you have this massive concreted, you know, like 8x2, it's fucking nuts. It's like, holy shit, like, how are you gonna take that down? It has everything you want on it, and it was engineered to be extremely min max for the builders.
Yep.
What are you supposed to do? And I think one thing that they should do and focus on is change how that structure, or how the AI garrisons act. And it's just simply that it's what you build, like an AI garrison, like the rifle garrison, it has its own HP pool separate from the actual the main bunker itself.
So you pick it apart.
Yeah, you just pick it apart, you focus it, you knock down that rifle garrison, and guess what? Now it creates an entrance where you can go into the bunker base.
Oh,
So
yeah.
it's flipping. You know, you can have infantry go in, and if they want to destroy the whole thing, they have that entrance to go in on their side to plant a satchel, or, you know, continue on from there.
So
Something that I would love to see in bunker systems as well. For instance, you know, when we build one of those circular trenches for the emplacements, instead of putting a gun in there, like, maybe be able to build a set location of sandbags. So if the enemy is pushing into your trench, you can build a quick thing to resist them coming down that line of the trench, if you get what I'm saying. So you could have sandbags within the trench with a
Sandbag
HMG.
window.
Mhm.
Exactly, like a little small barricade within the trench sort of thing. And I would love to see something like that.
You know what we're kind of missing out of this is, you know, when trenches were first released, you got that, you know, trench to trench warfare that you're kind of like, that was really enjoyable.
Yeah.
It just turned out like the player base learned that it was bad, and we
Yeah.
knew it was bad really
Yeah.
quickly. Like, but, you know, when we dig those trenches, they're fun to fight in, but whoever dug them is the loser.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? And that's kind of what happened. And so people got, like, finally the community as a whole learned, oh, digging dumb trenches is bad. Yeah, it was kind of fun to fight in, and yeah, you had delusions of success. But
It's the
whoever
most
dug it was an
heartbreaking
idiot.
thing, isn't it? It's
Yeah.
the most heartbreaking
Yeah.
thing to come to a relic base and see a new person to the game, you know, a corporal or a sergeant, you know, he's putting his back into it, dude. He's putting his back into digging this fucking hole. You know what I mean? He's digging for the Warden Empire, and you can see the expression on his face. He's filled with patriotism as he's digging this bloody trench, and then you have to go over to him and be like, you know, calmly place your hand on his back and say, "No, my
I have
friend,
to run this over now.
not a good idea."
And then Dark comes over with his truck and runs over.
Oh god.
Just to add on, I don't mean to cut you off, Fraser.
No
Just
problem.
like the bunker bases are strong enough as it is, and then we need to revisit the repair mechanic, which has
Yeah.
always been an issue. And just like,
Exactly where I wanted to go.
Let's talk about that for
we
a
had
few
to talk
minutes.
about that.
So yeah, well, you know, shame on me because I already ranted about this to Marfu directly because I got extremely annoyed with one of the latest situations we had with, I think it was Old Jaktar at the beginning of the war, where we legitimately cut it off from the colonial supply line for like 2 hours, but we still couldn't take it, although the thing was like, you know, completely encircled by our defenses and watchtowers and everything you would ever imagine. But it turns out, you know, you don't have enough people to have a blockade around it, and also enough people to just sit there and just like mind numbingly shoot it with rifles for half an hour to destroy it. And it goes back to the one thing, this repair mechanic, this bane that is the repair mechanic in this game. And they used this on Hardline back in the day, if you remember, Kaz, on the same
yeah.
thing, same encirclement, same scenario. And it's funny because both times the Colonials followed the same strategy. Like, first they tried to head-on counter us, Then they tried to throw vehicles at it. It didn't work either. And then when they saw that nothing is working and that they couldn't push in to, like take it back, they just decided to stop with the weapons, get 20 BMATs each, a hammer, and just run to hit the fucking thing
Yeah.
with a hammer.
That's the most. That
Forget
was the most
sticky Russian.
countable.
Forget
Yeah.
sticky Russian, guys. How about BMAT Russian a base?
Exactly.
You're
And
not
I-
all going to make it there, but
I
if
can,
one of you
yeah.
exit there, 10 minutes of work out the window for the attacking team.
Yeah, and I cannot blame them. Like, don't get me wrong, I cannot blame them because, like, at the same time, that's the meta, right? That's exactly what meta means.
I'd order my squad to do it if the situation dictated it.
Yeah. It's a perfectly viable strategy, and it's not their fault that it is a perfectly viable strategy. And the thing that irritates or gets my blood pressure up the most about it is like the difference here with other things we complain about is the devs actually have a point when they say, well, that thing takes a lot of work and we need to rework an entire subsystem of the game in order to correct that thing, right?
Sure.
But in this case, none of that is true. In this case, it's just a matter of tweaking how much something gets repaired when you hit it with a hammer, for example. It's basically tweaking some numbers. And I know Mark had this entire explanation about why they don't do that because, they can upset players and so on and so forth. But I don't think even the builders, and I know we have builders watching us right now, I don't think even they would argue that repairing, is okay right now as a mechanic. I don't think even they,
There's-
I'm
I
convinced.
think something that we've talked about before, and I think which will probably be the best idea for something like this. I mean, we could take it so far as to say, like, maybe foxholes, watchtowers, and the like, things that aren't part of a bunker system or aren't a garrison house or aren't a town hall and things like that. Things that are just, static defenses, AT turrets and the like. They can still be repaired when they're taking damage. Fair enough, because that has application in the game, and that can be countered at least. You know what I mean? It's not something. If you go up against a foxhole that's getting repaired, you just need to put more fire on it. It's going to die. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter how many people are repairing it. I think with things like a bunker system, town halls, hard structures like garrison houses and things like that, if they take damage, then then the ability to repair that structure should be suspended for a certain amount of time. So if that complex is under constant artillery fire, then there's no repairing it on the fly and things like that, because you've already gained the position to shell the town hall. You shouldn't have to compete with the fact that colonials have one of the cheapest resources in the game in abundance in that town hall, and you're firing one of the most expensive at it. You know what I mean? That shouldn't be a factor, in my opinion.
We talked about this before. There are so many possible unintended consequences of that change, because that's the one I favor initially. Again, I have to kind of look at it from the context of I'm always an attacker when I play this game, and that's really going to affect our judgment about it, because our operations are always 99 out of 100 operations are us putting the colonials against the wall and punch them in the face and punch them in the face, and all they're trying to do is survive until we log off. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that changes the way that we look at the situation. So if I'm a colonial looking at the other side of DK and we're looking at something that's going to make our lives more the attackers' lives easier, that's a scary change, and it's also going to upset that balance that the devs are looking for of trying to make the wars go on longer. And so, I don't know, it almost feels like it's too simple. Maybe there's a more elegant solution available, but I agree, in my head, there should be some kind of pause, or at the very least diminishing returns on a structure. You should you can still repair it, but it's not as efficient or effective if it's, taking damage within a certain window. I don't know. But
if we're looking for limitations, then I would just 100% be happy if HE was to land on anything, either HE explosives or HE like high explosive artillery shells has that effect that you can't repair it. You can't repair this. Sorry, HE just fucking hit it,
Right.
and I'll
Yeah.
be
Yeah.
happy. Everything else could still be the same. Just let HEs actually, disable repairing because
Yeah,
this is the thing that's just frustrating. It's just like you can't bother to use. Sorry, you can't bother to use standard FA shells because they're just gonna out repair you. One of the most expensive pieces of equipment with probably the most moderately or even a little bit highly priced ammo, and if you want to use that, you're going to be wasting a lot of resources because you're not going to get it. If one person responds and hits it with BMATs, that FA is countered. Simple as that. And that's just frustrating.
yeah, it's no doubt that like everybody's really looking for, in my opinion, is a way around it at least, right? Because, like you said, this is the mind-boggling thing. The cost for RT shells is not something moderate, right? It's something that especially Logi has to work hard and long for to provide, and you're under that pressure to make those shells count, right? Because you're dealing with something that is expensive and that took people, real time in the game to get you to make a difference with, right? And knowing that you're being basically outplayed by some guys with BMATs in their inventory and a hammer is frustrating. And like I said, there's bound to be a discussion about how the defenders are being affected in all of this, but at the same time, I don't think I would personally, and I know, like you said, Cass, like we're not that often in that position, but I would honestly be fine with like losing that one tank or that one town hall or that one bunker that we generally, uh, you know, help escape because of this mechanic. And actually, if you guys want to continue on the topic for a bit, I just remembered, I think I have an excellent clip of a battle tank that we save while being under APFA shells. So that's ridiculous. Okay,
Let's
so
go.
give
Let's
me
see this.
yeah. You just give me 2 minutes to find it. You guys can have
Yeah,
a
Keep talking while he
keep
keeps
talking.
go ahead and pull it up. But that's another topic. We're not even talking about armor or mechanized
Yeah.
elements. But there's if you think of everything in the game that has this artificial life pool that can be enhanced so
Thank you for the
dramatically
follow,
because
you
the repair rate.
non-essential scum.
And I don't like the idea of the repair rate being increased just in general because let's say you escape that engagement, adding more grind to Foxhole is not what I'm looking for. But definitely while you're in combat actively taking damage, it feels that repairing should be less efficient. And what it forces you to do is it forces you to overpower the threat as opposed to just weathering the storm. If we let these Howies get in range, we're in big trouble. We better fight for our lives to deny that Howie position from the enemy, kind of thing.
Just talking in general, I'm just speaking because I know you said this whole making a counter mechanic for the repair mechanic. But even though it's every weekend or Saturday for at least us in DK, we're always attacking. But just look at the colonial side of the tech tree. They almost have everything more aggressive than what the wardens will have. And I'm not trying to say this is going to favor them, but I'm saying it's going to be both sides. And this is something that I feel like it has too much bullshit, and it should just be let us have a war where because this is the whole point of early access is to try new things, see what works and see what doesn't. Don't just keep horrible shit in that just makes a good chunk of your player base want to fucking leave. I mean, I know I've had moments where I just want to just alt F4 because I'm hitting at this tier 3 garrison house or this tier 3 town hall with HE shells, and I just see all the colonials just smacking it with BMATs, and I'm just like, well, okay, last damage state, guys. Keep firing. Oh, okay, it's damage state 2. Fire again. Okay, back to 3. And then I see it. It's at 2. If we fire again, it's still at 2. So now I already know they're out preparing us. We can't do this without a second FA, and it just fucking sucks.
Okay, so in the meantime, I've did as promised. I'm gonna actually like let it run from a bit before the actual moment, so you guys can get a bit of the feel of the context of what's happening. Because this is actually an incredible engagement. This is one of those limited times you were saying about Cass when we are actually the defenders. I think it's Foxcatcher if I'm not mistaken, and it was an incredible fight for us. And I feel like this one engagement is it wouldn't be fair for me to like not show the entire thing and only show the limited amount where we're actually repairing the tank, right?
Okay.
So let me switch to my video player here. Okay.
Let me recline.
What? Ta-da! Like this, I meant pitching over. Who cares? It works.
The only issue is
want-
backing out of that will be difficult.
You want me to
Okay, shoot. Are we pushing? Come back.
I hit it.
Hit one southwest. Engineer reload. Rounds, please.
76. 52 Razor.
It's one hell of a tank.
Get some
That one.
fast repairs and we need to kill
I
that
was about
bitch.
to say.
Okay, pessimist.
Friendly tank.
It's like a rare moment in Foxhole. You just have like it's an actual interesting fucking tank battle fight.
I know. Yeah.
They fire at the tree.
Friendly tank is going down. Roger.
We are at 6.
So that's HEFA hitting that, or APFA, sorry.
It's about to hit it. Yeah, no,
Where's our
this was
engineer?
tanks for now. There's still tanks hitting it for now, and you can see ATTK armor just pushing in to try and protect them.
Repair.
But we're gonna push back the colonial armor now. I'm sorry you can't see it, but I needed to repair.
Stable. Light tank stable. Still at 87.
Light tank, shoot that light tank on the right. Chipmunk.
Okay, that's light tank dead. Now
Chipmunk, you need to pay attention, my friend.
87. loaded. I'm out of B-mats. I need to jump out and grab some.
grab E-mats from the tank?
I think this is one with the
Misty, you can grab
with the battle
these
tanks,
from
but I think I have the one with the FA as well.
You can hop on
But
it.
it's the same premises, I think.
Put them in your inventory.
Come on.
Well, it went down to 2%.
Yeah, but
And it wa-
you saw
Yeah,
the line
yeah,
of
that was-
tanks firing at it.
Yeah. I mean, that was a bit ridiculous. I have to say that was twofold though.
This thing
Like,
repaired our armor,
it was
huh?
partly because the tanks that were on site were
Yeah, we did. We got one.
knowledgeable enough to, form a shield around the damaged tank that it allowed to get out there. But even before that, you know what I mean, it went down to 2%. I think that's partly human error on the part of the colonials. I use human with a, quotation marks there, but you get what I'm saying.
Well, you
Um,
have other things as well. It's like it was down. The lowest it had was 2%. So that means someone repaired it at enough to save it. At that point, the repairs were sufficient enough, so that way it wouldn't die from from it going past 2%. And that's just bull. I'm not gonna lie. I call that fucking bullshit. You guys that tank should have fucking died.
And
But currently, how the repair mechanic is in general, you can just hammer away, and it's just they say the Colonials lost. They got one disabled, and they're just firing at it with all they have. But then the enemy decides, or the Wardens decide, okay, let's push up to try to cover it. Now the Colonials are forced to go back because they managed to get lucky to get one of the Warden BTs off guard, but this whole play was ultimately erased and flipped to the Wardens to be able to save it. And it's like, no, just like that BT should have died.
And the good news is I have the AP after that. Go ahead, Avitus, and we'll show the AP after that.
I think that the next video will showcase the damage is quite circumstantial. So, for instance, if a BT pushes up without infantry support and things like that, and then it gets disabled, to repair that BT is a lot harder. But I think the true problem with the repair mechanic is against hard structures. So hopefully this next video will showcase that.
Yeah, I'm gonna go in the next one now.
Is this the same tank battle?
It might be in the same neighborhood. Yeah, I believe it might be. I don't know if it's the same engagement. Probably not, but
no, it's
same
not
location. Same location.
It looks like it's
the same location.
It's same location later in that engagement because that trench is
there we go. And you're gonna see the FA AP here being fucking incredible in damage output, if you ask me.
Back up the other battle tank. Back up. Yeah, those are phaser nasty.
This is where the magic starts.
No, I got out.
Ray, go help.
Shredding that thing, isn't it?
I have diesel on me. I'm a gunner.
Don't stand behind it. If he gets repaired, he must be able to back up. Yes.
But then here you go, just suddenly out of nowhere, the repair rate is just outdoing it.
It's ridiculous. There's a lot of people repairing that tank, I have to say. Like,
Do you want us to take a shot? Alright.
We brought this up before, Avitus, but that Family Guy clip, the Irish. Rebuilding that barn.
yeah, yeah.
Guys, what are we doing with the second battle tank? Okay. Drake, enemy tank, enemy battle tank, enemy
on
battle
the road, fire ahead.
I think they've given up, haven't they?
It's tracked.
Oh, there's hope. It's wiggling.
Reload! Engineer, reload!
And again.
We're gonna get stuck here.
Yeah, the tank's alive. The tank's alive.
It's bullshit.
Yeah, I need the fuel though. We're at like 20%.
It's absolutely
now
crazy.
50, nice.
90%.
Yeah, I think we can end it here because that's
Yeah.
when,
No, that's basically what you're talking about.
crazy. I just say crazy.
I mean, I think that the damage on vehicles is easily fixable if you just put like the limit of 3 people on it. I mean, with a battle tank, you can obviously have the engineer as well, so you have that internal repair, and have 3 people repairing it max. I think that would balance that problem out quite well. I think the only reason that battle tank survived was the sheer amount of bodies that were just being thrown repairing it. It's very rare that you get something like that. It's very rare that you get enough people on the front line with hammers and beam-ats to just turn around and be like, "Oh, that tank needs repairing."
But this is the thing, is that's almost always the go-to, and like this, you could easily remove the context here and replace the BT with a tier 3 town hall or a bunker base, and just people you just have people hammering away. Just
is there not a maximum repair of 3 people on town halls and stuff?
I feel like there is, but then I feel like there isn't. Like, honest to God, like I thought the 3 hit repair rate was for vehicles as well, and I'm just being baffled that clearly that was not the thing.
Maybe
No.
that's just in
It's for constructing buildings.
Yeah.
construction. Oh, right. Well, I mean, even just copy and pasting that code of having 3 people max repairing anything would probably alleviate some of the the problems until they have a more solid fix.
The
for
bottom
this
line is
issue.
it's got to be throttled somehow. Throttling the repair rate, I think, is the issue at hand. And you have the extreme solution that we would favor of it being disabled entirely, but at least throttling it and experimenting with different ranges to balance makes sense. I think
Because that was a good. If you look at it, because I'm looking at it from an artillery perspective, that FA got like they did a fantastic play on disabling the BT, disabling its tracks so it's slow. Then they keep pushing up. They got it disabled, and they got it exactly where we want them. All I have to do is keep firing, guys.
So it
And
feels.
that
Oh,
wasn't.
sorry. Go ahead there.
I'll just say like, what did the FA guys do wrong?
Exactly.
They did everything right. They, if it was one of those things, if they hit the BT, and the tracks weren't, and they just reversed completely out. No, this wasn't a factor in. They disabled the tracks. They did everything by the book, how to destroy a BT, and just.
Your point is exactly what I sent to Markfoot as well, because this is the most frustrating part about this mechanic and how it works. And I kind of translated in our situation with the relic base in Old Jaktar, like the infantry and the members we had for that war start have like did everything exactly as we asked them. We asked them to make a perimeter. We asked them to cut off the relic base. We asked them to sit in the same foxholes for a huge amount of time and make sure nothing passes to the like relic base and so on. So this is what frustrates me the most. Is like when the scenarios appears when the team does everything right or the player does everything right, but the end result is against them. In this case, and I'm so glad I had this to show, so it's not perceived as it's only a warden. We just want wardens to be good on the attack. No, that's a perfect example of a colonial RT crew doing absolutely everything right and being on point with their gameplay, and they didn't get to savor that BT kill when we should have.
Well, I think the point has been made about repairs, and I think it's time to move subject.
Yeah, absolutely. Time to look a bit here to our last subject before we go into the dev stream, and I'm gonna pass it to Kaz for this one because he proposed it. I'm just gonna say it was sparked because we had the pleasure to interact with some new guys to the game yesterday, led by a lovely dude, a streamer that had like on average, I think it was at least like 150 people watching him. There was a point in the stream where there were more people watching than actually playing Foxhole. Like the population of Foxhole was around 500 and something at the time, and this streamer guy was like getting hosted by other streamers with like 500 people, 200 people, 300 people, and at some point he had like 700 people watching him for a short duration of time, and I was like, whoa! Like there's the entire population of Foxhole, and then some people that are watching us playing Foxhole. It's so fucking,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah,
crazy.
it's crazy.
Yeah, but like for the most time, he averaged 300 people. That's easily half of the population playing the game, and it's like, yeah, that's crazy for half of the population of the game just watching this one dude play. Yeah, I'll pass it to Kaz because it was interesting.
Yeah, so like it really gave us some insight into because Razor was taking a little bit of time to just watch him stumble around and try to learn the game, and we were joking a little bit because he was enjoying the process of learning in some respects. Like he's like, no, you can't have fun with this game. What are you doing? Like it's kind of fun to joke about, but at the same time, it was interesting because there were so many things that he as a new player were stumbling through that we just kind of take for granted, and just all the barriers to like the most significant barrier being where do I go. Like he spent probably a good hour wandering from location to location trying to figure out how to help the team or find combat, and we ultimately were able to kind of help redirect him a little bit, and it was really rewarding and fun to kind of watch his player experience go up dramatically as well because we got him to an active front where there were other RP. He had a silver hand that he had gathered somehow with another group of newer players, and so we put him on the front with some other armor crews that had a lot of experience, and they just kind of got lost that line, and they were having a blast. Like you could tell how much fun they were having and enjoying the experience because they were, they had kind of had the benefit of skipping a lot of the steps that they might never have taken in the learning process, because there's no way to learn that unless some other experienced players take you, kind of take you under their wing and really show you some of the things that are a little bit counterintuitive from Foxhole, or that just aren't evident at face glance. And this Foxhole is a game with a lot of depth to it. And, I think from my perspective, even no matter how long I've been playing it, there are things that I don't know even now, and things I have to accumulate tasks with. Like I was working with some of the guys on a bunker base just before our op in the morning, and I'm asking questions about how it works because like I've done it a couple of times, but like the nuances for all the the details for how it all comes together sometimes escape me. And I've been playing for a long time.
I think one of the things that makes Foxhole unique for me more than any other game, whereas pretty much any other game that I can think of, the onus is definitely on the developers to teach you how to play the game. However, on Foxhole, it seems to be that the onus is on whatever particular faction that you join in to train you to play the game. So I think that is a big factor in player retention as well. And the reason why most people never switch faction as soon as they click on the game, because if you log onto the game for the first time, you join the Warden faction, and you run into someone like yourself, Kaz, who's willing to walk that player through the basics and tell him where to go and all that type of stuff, then that's perfectly fine. But in the same hand, the same player could log on a day later, and people like you are nowhere around, and that guy just logs off and never comes back on the game, because he just found it too confusing. That that learning curve was a little bit too high for him to reach, and I think that's quite true for a lot of people that get Foxhole.
So it's kind of like the hero's journey, the whole trope of that, especially when you get people into loyalists, because it's kind of like the main factor of when you first start this game, you don't know anything about it, and your first decision is, well, what team do I want to be in, blue or green? And you pick one, and it starts from there, from how you're assuming how to play, and you spawn in the home region and you just wander. Either you choose to wander around because okay, well, how do I don't know what the hell I got to do, so let's try. You can either try the boot camp, or you can probably wiggle your way to find how to actually play the game. Actually spawn in and be in the current live war.
I mean, this is one of the few subjects where I will give the devs a little bit of leeway. I think it would be very, very hard for them to come up with a way to teach people how to play their game, because it's so intricate, and it has a high learning curve, like I said before. What I think would be beneficial for the devs to do in this circumstance and the way that their game runs is to recommend certain clans and groups of people to contact in regards to learning the game and things like that. And I think that would be really beneficial for new players.
Well, this is just my 2 cents, and this is what I feel like they could do, because almost every developer has this type of thing where they attempt. The home region was supposed to be a tutorial thing, but all they have to do is take the time to engineer an actual tutorial mission when you first start the game for Foxhole. It spawns you in by yourself, whether it be like let's just say like a small like the old skirmish map size, and it's all completely condensed with AI soldiers, and it's just you in there, and you start off from, let's say for example, it does some world building, like, hey, welcome to Foxhole, etc., etc. They grab this truck and grab these supplies. You need to take it, to this fob so you can set it. And it teaches you just from that little mission. You get me? That's how like RTSs teach new players how to play their game, is through their story mode, and they teach you the mechanics of it just from you doing those missions. And it could just be something like you go up to it, you fight with the AI, and then let's say the whole goal is to just capture the town hall, and that it goes through everything you have to do to capture a town hall, which is supply a fob, etc., fight, kill foxholes and finally get there and build it up with the CV. That's all it. To me, they should focus on doing as far as like when you first log in to play the game. Then once you're done, you're plopped in the home region, and now you at least know what's going on. Because when you rely things on other people, it's not good for player retention because you have your people that just fuck this and just leave because not everyone's meant to be a teacher, and you have like this. I'm not trying to be mean, but you have like these 14-year-old people just fucking hey guys, you want to play the game? You want to learn how to play it? It's like, what do you get me? Like I'm a quite old individual. I don't want to hear that and fucking be like, okay, well, I'm done. I'm refunding.
Just the orc being the orc.
and to be fair, to be fair to the devs, the things have changed. Like if they were to have done that project Dark that you're talking about, like 6 months ago, it would be obsolete already. And so like I don't think it's reasonable to expect them to put that production on yet until if we ever get to 1.0, then maybe they can do that. And so I don't really have a good solution because of how fluid things are. It really does fall to veteran players.
Yeah, but Kaz, there's a few things that never have changed and never will change probably. Like one of the things that will never change is having like certain points that are always a front line sort of a thing, right? Like how Deadlands in general, especially if it's split it on half, then on Deadlands, on in the center of Deadlands, you're always gonna have this fucking stupid nah fuck you fight that's gonna go on until one side, So try like that would be because one of the most critical things to do, like flag these like key front lines that go back and forth for like days, right? Flag them so the new guys that have no clue what the fuck they're doing can go there and at least experience the chaos that is there, right? Because like a lot of people, even if it sounds counterintuitive, like these guys yesterday were thriving off of that total chaos of shells just flying everywhere, and just like people dying, people shouting, Zach just going bananas,
losing his mind
on the tag.
See, this is a point that I brought up yesterday as well. Like, we are salty old vets. We've been playing this game 4 years. We're very, very used to the visuals and everything and how the game plays and things like that. We're used to all that. It's nothing new to us. We know the map like the back of our hand. These people coming in, seeing this stuff for the first time, like if I was coming into Foxhole now, having not experienced it for years previously, I think it was the best thing since sliced bread. You know what I mean? Providing that they get to the fronts, like you say, and see that action. If they're locking onto a backline map and thinking, I'm going to do Logi for my first time or something like that, that would be probably the wrong move because Logi is probably the most complex thing in the game to learn how to do. So.
Yeah, and I think the heart of the issue, like you've got a few phases of problems with this. So you've got like the core mechanics that I think Dark was alluding to with the introduction, and I think that those mechanics and some of the things that you're talking about, Raise, are important and are quite standardized, and probably there may be a way to make it very clear and easy for players to find these things. But then you have like what's going on underneath the hood of Foxhole. Like we were talking about it the other day, even like this invisible armor pool that only the most experienced of mechanized players know how to understand and appreciate. And like there's and then like the infantry combat, even there are certain nuances to infantry combat that we just don't even think about, that a lot of players get lost in relation to what should you prone, should you crouch, how does cover even work? You get the shield, what does that mean? You get this eye in the top left screen, what does this mean? Like the UI is kind of unhelpful, and there's not a good repository of knowledge for a lot of this. And that goes all the way up and that's just the basics. And you look at, the whole body of CE and the whole body of Logi, and good Lord Almighty, how, players really do have to get their handheld to wade through all that stuff, or they're going to make a tremendous number of mistakes that will waste hours of their time.
I think the biggest lesson to teach a new player coming into Foxhole, I mean, this takes me back to an interaction that I had with a colonial yesterday. Now, I wounded this guy and he was on the floor, reaching for the sky sort of thing. And as he was laying there, he was telling me in quite colourful terms how bad 82DK is and how bad the people who play in it are. But I was pretty good because I downed him, sort of thing. And if more people were in 82DK that were skilled, it would be a lot better and things like that. But in that way of thinking, that like because he was like a sergeant or something like that, that's the way of thinking that a lot of people have coming into the game. You know, it's all about kills and it's all about being, you know, the guy that, you know, takes the front line and is the hero. The biggest bit of advice for a new person coming into Foxhole is to get them to understand that that is not the case in this game. Like, you are not John Rambo in this game. I don't consider myself to be very good at this game skill-wise. However, what this game does that I like is it allows you to use teamwork to overcome the fact that you're not very good at the game. And if you have teamwork above skill, that's always going to win on Foxhole. Ultimately, you know, that particular guy might wipe your squad, you know, single-handedly one time, but after that, you're going to know he's coming. You're going to know his play style and things like that, and you're all going to focus fire on him, and that type of thing will just you know, sort itself out. And I think that is the biggest lesson to learn if you're a new player.
Yeah, game sense and positioning are everything in this game, and there are mechanics that are built in to, like, and we go over this in our infantry training a lot, just to kind of help players understand that you're not playing Counter-Strike here. You're playing something quite different, and it changes a lot of mentality for players that play games. To be a good infantryman or to be a good mechanized guy or be a good E guy, you have to live in defiance of some really bad habits that you've developed in other games.
Yeah, and you know, I think the devs actually took steps into like changing exactly what you said, Davidas, because in the past, especially with the, you know, like the shadow dancing, you know, debacle, they did a pretty good job of, you know, reducing the possibility of you just running around and just acting like you're Rambo. And you know, funnily enough, it did push people away from the game in that period of time. Because like I remember Nemesis and his friends.
I remember that.
They
And I think
they left the game.
to tell you the truth,
Yeah,
to tell you the truth about that particular situation, I think it was a loud minority that left, rather than quite a substantial.
True. Yeah, true. I mean, I do understand the you know, like, because it gave a lot of people that rush, you know, of just like, you know, oh, like, I'm gonna get this revolver and just like own like a full squad with it. And you know, it's that you know, adrenaline that kicks in when you do a great play like that. But it's not about what this game is, you know, at least in probably in our opinion. I know everybody has a different opinion about it, but when you think a massive war game, you don't really think this one guy that's just gonna act like Rambo and just like clear squad after squad. So that's where I think it kicks in, right? Even in reality, and like, even so, we still have situations and we still have videos of one guy like killing like, I don't know, 7 people. But it has to be rare. It has to be very rare, because that's how things are even in real life. You know,
you could still make plays in this game. You could squad wipe people by yourself, but it's by playing intelligently and baiting them into bad engagements. And I mean, I've made a lot of colonials look quite foolish, not because I just I outflick them, but because I put them in a bad spot and I use my position better than they use theirs.
Yeah.
This game favors the defender a lot more when you play an infantry. So what not a lot of people, not a lot of infantry do, and anyone in the chat that plays infantry quite a lot, take this a bit of advice, guys. If you get shot at, for instance, especially at night and things like that, just fall back 25 meters. The guy's going to follow you because he thinks you're running away from him, but you're going to be ready for him when he comes. And when he comes out of the darkness, you're going to be in a better position than he is, because your crosshair is going to be ready for him. He's not expecting you laying prone, waiting for him, sort of thing. And that's quite a useful tip for open field infantry engagements.
Yeah, I personally think we should frick, fall back when I'm staggered. Well, I think Avatus assumed you weren't staggered yet, frick.
Yeah. Yeah, if you have a chance to run, dude. Like if
Staggered,
you
might as
staggered,
well.
just stay and die.
Just start playing to the Emperor, and he's just gonna respawn you back. Don't worry about it. But yeah, I think we definitely need to come back to this topic now and again because the encounter yesterday with those guys was an interesting experience. For us, like seeing, especially because, like you said, we watched them a bit before intervening, and it was such a struggle for them to figure out what should they do next. Not necessarily how to play the game, but what should we do next. That was, and I think that's actually
a great point.
a huge reason why people probably buy this game, play it a bit, and then never touch it again. It's because at some point they just like lose this, this conception of
Well, and
what
it's
should we.
explanation for why people get stuck in these bridge battles, right? Like
Yeah.
for days on end, they just in this meat grinder because they have no other ability to discern a different way to approach the situation.
I mean, what I would love to. I mean, I want to shy away from. We're not. I can't say that we're the best clan in the game because like that would just be big-headed as fuck. But what I will say is that for things like streamers and people that are looking at the game and looking to have a good time on it and things like that, if like for instance, that if that streamer was in the middle of an 82 DK op yesterday, can you imagine his view count then? You know what I mean? And can you imagine, and even someone with even more viewers looking at something like an 82 DK op compared to a bridge battle? That's going to get a lot more people into the game and things like that. You know what I mean? So
it's a different game. Yeah.
Yeah, it's complete. It is. It's a completely different game, isn't it? It's not even the same game.
Right, I propose to move to the dev stream because there's.
That's all I'll say. Yeah, because we've been
been-
on this topic for a while. Let's go to the next one. I know Cass doesn't have much time, so I don't want to take him all day.
Neither do I.
Yeah, well, the good news is like a lot of it is sort of repetitive of last time, but this is we'll start with something new though. So apparently, if you guys remember last time, you could get infected from other zombie players and so on, and the infection would just be randomly spread out through the world. Now this time, the devs decided to go with the weaponizing of zombies. They claim it to have taken the idea of from the players, from the factions, the faction using the zombies against each other. So I'm not gonna go into lore because nobody wants to hear that, but I'm just joking. But the general idea is, in this episode, both wardens and colonials found out how to weaponize the undead into, or the curse, or whatever you want to call them, because everybody calls them something different these days.
What I'm seeing here, and it's if you were to tell me last year in the last event, if they were going to add Logi into, I would have told you you're stupid and you're lying. You're dumb.
What I want to know is, can zombies man vehicles?
No, unfortunately, no.
That would have been funny.
No, but Dark has an excellent point. Yes, we will be doing logistics for his unholiness Satan, so he gives us zombies. I don't know. It's we're gonna go to the portal, throw BMATs into
the market.
We're gonna throw BMATs into the portal, and we're gonna get unholy unholy creatures out of it. It's pretty funny. So the general idea is, if you guys remember the totems that prevent you from going into zombie mode, so to say, when you died, now you have something similar, a soulstone item. But what it does is, on the spot when you die, you transform into a zombie without having to respawn. I should have probably prepared a little video. I'll probably get on that real quick while you guys. I can probably show it off of the dev stream real quick for a second, so you guys understand what I'm talking about.
That's going to add an interesting dynamic, isn't it? Because even if let's say you have a 6-man squad, you run into another colonial 6-man squad in an open field and you wipe them. It's not over. You know what I mean? They're going to get back up, sort of thing. So it will add an interesting dynamic. I'm more interested whether they're going to bring back those mechs though, because those mechs are baller.
Well, you're in
Yeah.
luck.
Yeah, just give me a moment. I would like to fucking show you because this looks pretty interesting. The way you resurrect. I'm just gonna show that so I don't go over there. You know, if you guys want to see more, you can just go on look at the dev stream, I guess. But I'm gonna pause it real quick. Let's see, browse. One sec, guys. I'm just looking for where the. Yeah, there you go. I know the quality is crazy, but you understand what's happening at least. This is all that stream offers, quality wise.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Worshipping of Nurgle.
It does look pretty cool.
Yeah, it looks awesome. Like the visuals of it are pretty impressive. I really like them.
It's stupid how much they play into our fucking Warhammer theme, dude. Like everything that I'm seeing, it's like you got the silver hand that's practically a Lehman Russ, and then you're having like chaos worshippers and shit like that.
I didn't see that clip, but that's also pretty awesome. Just like you kill them, you down, or you don't down them, but you give them to 0 HP and they enter this respawn where they just splash into whatever totem tier they have. I'm just thinking like everyone's just gonna be rocking out with the heaviest and hardest tier stones and just being like, well.
There were a lot of memes around this, especially with logistic drivers. You know, like logistic drivers just like driving casually down the road. Suddenly, partisans they get out. You know, they get killed by the partisans, and then they transform into this massive fuck off undead that just
raid boss. Just like bash them.
It's so funny.
And then you kill the partisans, and they also turn into.
Yeah, that's a great point. Also a good thing to specify here is you can also activate it. Like you don't need to necessarily have to die. If you want to activate it, you know, before dying, you can also do that. So that's an interesting thing to keep in mind here. But yeah, I think we should keep it moving. So these are basically the least the least threatening zombies. Yeah. Also, I don't know if I mentioned it, but Frederick is pointing out you don't like if you get killed by a zombie this year, you don't turn into a zombie or stuff like that. That there's nothing like that into the game this year. You just basically if you get killed, you respawn. That's it. So you need one of those soul storms to trigger any zombie or undead mechanics, so to say, or curse mechanics, whatever you want to call them.
See, they're going with the blue and green visual.
Yeah, you get faction specific because, like I said, this is basically the factions weaponizing their undead, basically, which looks pretty cool. I'm gonna come clean and say I made a bit of fun of their shoes. I don't understand why their boots are so red. Like, I understand that has to be
Drenched
blood.
in blood.
Yeah, but still, that's very. It looks like it's painted. Now they look cool though. They look cool. I like the general idea on which they went with the, the models for the zombies. These zombies are pretty boring, so we can just move on to the more interesting ones.
But also pretty boring.
No. I mean, as mechanics, right? Because they just crawl.
Oh,
that's it. You know,
they're basic.
They're pretty cheap though, so they only cost a bit of BMATs to produce the totem. So basically, everybody's gonna have access to the soul stones that you need for it. Literally, like, there's no reason to not have one of those soul stones on you, just so you get an extra life basically when you fight. And then we have the next tier, which is basically model wise is very similar to the runners, the Naruto runners, how people called them last year. And this is where things actually become new, because these guys have an extra attack, right? They're basically like spitters. They throw something similar to a grenade in front of them,
I'm sure they were modelled after my ex-girlfriend.
they look pretty cool. Like I was thinking about the strategies you could do with them, and they sound like really cool to just like mass them. Especially in infantry combat, just sending those mini grenades everywhere.
Yeah, it's going to be add another dynamic to it, isn't it? I always thought there should have been a spitter in there. Like,
Yeah, absolutely. And
so the real question is: has any of this tempted you, Kaz?
no, he's like quite
Kaz is,
the contrary.
Calling the family, seeing if anybody wants to come see the kids for a few weeks. So I don't have to be here.
making sure everything lines up perfectly so he doesn't have to spend any time in Foxhole.
When are we going to see the thick ass boy? Is he going to be on here?
He's just
Yeah,
about.
I know. I know you're excited, but you have to watch this thick ass boy before you see the other one. These boys are
Battler spawn.
yeah, they're basically like heavy hitters, similar to the tanks we had in the other iteration. Only that this time they get a special ability where they basically smash the ground to do some pretty nasty damage, especially against vehicles, from what we understand. So they're pretty anti-vehicle class.
This is just my 2 cents. You guys could take it as it is, because when I look at something, it's like, okay, you have like this the curse spawn, then you have the fucking Naruto runners, and then you have these things, but they absolutely have no similarities whatsoever. Like this one's starting to grow rocks and metal out of its body, but yet in the Naruto runner ones, there's like nothing hinting that it was leading to that, and it just looks.
It's more organic, right? And well.
Yeah, I don't think that they care about
No, I mean, it's
looking.
true.
I mean, I get what you're saying. I mean, if they want to build, I really get the sense that it's not like they don't really care how things look and stuff like that. It's just the way that it is, sort of thing.
The fun aspect.
It doesn't make any sense, and I completely agree with you that they should have either went for this dark, stony aesthetic, or they should have went for a bio aesthetic across the entire zombie thing. I don't mind the design. There's no real consistency with it, so we'll just see.
I feel like that's just me. Just like it, even though what you're saying is 100% true. They don't care. They just wanted something that to them looks cool. I think some consistency as far as with the different tiers just helps build and set the mood. You know, when you just have like these infected, just having these like growing rubble all over them, and it's just like, I don't know, that to me that makes it interesting, because it's like, oh, okay, they're doing their thing of zombies, but they're taking it to a different twist. But it's whatever. This thing is still going to be a beast in it. But what's this secondary attack? This fissure?
Well, they basically.
I know I suffer from this daily.
It's similar to them smashing the ground and just like sending
It's like a shockwave.
Yeah,
it's like a shockwave.
Again, you can see it on the dev stream if you guys want to see it. I don't want to like play half of the dev stream here when it's on YouTube and you guys can see it. Yeah, it looks like a pretty good ability, especially to use against vehicles. They're gonna probably be more like finishers than anything else, because like it's gonna be hard to hit a moving vehicle. But once it's disabled or tracked or whatever, these bad boys can come in and just like smash the shit out of it.
Yeah, or smash down gates and walls and things like that.
Yeah. Also, the good news is there's only gonna be a timer cooldown to their abilities. Like, there's not gonna be any like ammo or some shit like that for it. So let's go to what Avitus has been waiting for this entire stream. And it's interesting because these are faction specific as well. So the Centurion that you sort of already know is gonna be the colonial faction specific mech. There's a bit of change aesthetically, but not crazy. I think you remember it from last time, right?
I do, yeah. I remember that one.
Did they was the the center cannon. Was it always 75 millimeter? I thought it was 40.
No, it was 40 last time.
Probably, I think they changed that a bit. Made it more of a
They didn't have battle
battle
tanks
tank.
in last time.
Yeah, yeah,
did
yeah.
they? So
No, you're right. You're right.
Yeah, I know you guys already are kind of acquainted with this one, so we're not gonna sit on it too much. It's still pretty cool, and I'm really happy they put it back into the game, even if it is for one more. But the big reveal is
oh my fucking god! What the absolute fuck is that?
it's the spider tank. Ignore what they put there with the scourge on. No. We already have a cult going on the spider tank. It is a spider
What?
tank,
Spider tank.
spider storm tank.
Is that an
20%.
is that an underslung 14.5 with
Yes.
with 4 barrels? And
What
what's the
was
top turret?
the top turret? Is
Quad
a
RPG.
Quad.
I like the spider tank.
What was the Centurion? What was its main? Its like sidearm armaments.
HMGs, double HMGs, left and right.
What's the? And these are which ones are these?
FMGs,
Oh
field machine guns.
fuck.
So we're just gonna have to cover this thing's flanks, basically.
Yeah, I mean, don't expect it to be like this. Is more similar to a light tank, while that is more similar to a battle tank. So don't expect this to be one on one with that sort of a thing, you know.
I don't mind. We'll
Yeah.
probably get our hands on both of them. So
Yeah, absolutely. I feel the same
I
way.
think the colonial one looks better, but in terms of armament, I would say ours is better.
yeah,
I'd rather have 4 RPGs than
but the
a 75
huge
mil shell.
the huge downside on the RPGs here is the reload time is pretty slow, and it reloads one by one. So every rocket takes 4 seconds, so 16 seconds for full reload. It's gonna be a pain to reload these bad boys. But like still, if you can get like 3 of them,
Burst them though.
yeah, if you can get like 3 of these things, you can imagine like 12 12 fucking RPGs hitting something instantly. That's gonna be pretty fun to
I just
see with
this thing. I mean, these things are great. These things are like these are the vehicles that I want to see in Foxhole. Shit, that you know what I mean? Like a steampunky aesthetic to it. Like they clearly put a shit ton of work into these vehicles, getting the animations and stuff like that, getting the armor. Why aren't these things in the game? Even if they are like back end of the tech tree, after you've researched everything else, only in the longest wars do you get them. They should be in the game all of the time, in my opinion, even in a limited amount. You know what I mean? To have these things in the game only once a year is a fucking crime, in my opinion.
Well, one word. I have one word for you, and that word is vision. they don't.
The vision.
They don't fit the vision. Apparently, I'm sorry.
This is the chassis of the old storm tank,
Yes,
right?
yes. It's built on the.
I still feel like they've touched it and like gave it a good coat of polish where that just looks amazing. Like,
Yeah.
I love looking at it. Not thinking about the storm tank, but just looking at like what they used and like how they made something so awesome with that. It's just like I don't know. I love the look of it. I could just stare at this for hours. Everything about it makes it look fucking awesome.
Can you imagine how much better the marketing for this game would be if they said, "Yeah, it's a mech game as well. So there's mechs in it." Can you imagine how many people would be like getting the game just because of that fact?
It helps build its own identity as well. As like this is
Yeah.
a different twist of a World War II scenario game, and it's like you don't have your classic, because at least then in this world shit doesn't make sense because by default you have mechs.
Yeah.
But when you have like tanks that are supposed to like look similar to the ones in real life, you want to put your own like, oh, I'm gonna assume it's gonna act like this and do like that.
Yeah, and I think it would help to. I mean, and these things should be on the title screen of the bloody game as well, because it would alleviate the sort of thing that I've mentioned before, where imagine you're a person that's loading Foxhole up for the first time. Like, it's a World War II-ish game. It's sort of modeled after that, but you don't really know what's going on. So you see the Wardens, you see the Colonials, you know, you see the Americans, you see the Germans. You know what I mean? That is just how you would automatically think. That's what I thought when I first got the game. So it's not after a while that you pick up that it's not actually going for that sort of aesthetic. And I think that having things that are clearly not derived from the real world would help cement the fact that this is a completely different planet. You know, there's with a completely different history to Earth and things like that.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think even with the cost of steering the whatever you want, the identity, the lore, the background story, whatever of the game towards it, I think it would be like you guys said. It would give it, Foxhole has its own identity, but because of a lot of things we already discussed in the past, like the lure being how it is and extremely cryptic and such, it's still very hard, especially for new players, to put their thumb on what is this game even about really, or what's the atmosphere, what's the what is it going for.
Yeah.
But when you do a statement like this, when you add something like this into your game, and you, like you guys said, create the opportunity of even like only in rare wars where the war is prolonged enough to get there, it's just like I don't. And you guys remember we already discussed about this. I already proposed this in the past, where you have like special events in the game. Like this can be a special event, like just fucking breaking news. After like fucking 2 years of war, both factions have decided to give up conventional warfare and invest a lot of money and shit into mechs. It doesn't have to happen all the time, right?
See, where I think they're going for with Foxhole is it's not like we haven't fought in 60 odd wars. Where I think they're actually going for is each war is the same war. It's just reiterated over time. Do you get what I'm saying? So like, yeah, it's a different timeline basically. Every war's a different timeline. It's the same war, different timeline. That's what I think they're going for.
Multiverse.
Yeah.
The thing that drives me crazy, I think I mentioned this last year, so I'll just mention it again, is the amount of like clear effort, energy, thought, and love that's put into all this, and then like all of the other systemic issues that just get left unaddressed for so long.
Yeah,
I'm
it's
just
crazy.
I'm just dying inside.
Man, I know you're hating, Kaz, because we still have these standing issues, but yet they pop this bad boy out, and it's like, damn.
But we can't rework our revolvers and shotguns to be useful.
And see, like even like Scotty was saying in chat right now that that there's like he showed it to a friend, and his friend was like, this thing is like looks incredible. I would want one of these in one form or another if I could get it. It's just
get a new friend, Gotti. Get a new friend.
Yeah, you shouldn't like this. Bad friend.
Yeah. I wouldn't like a plushie. I'd like a real one to ride around my own town.
Well,
because there's a few people I'd like to visit in it, but just want to.
Now the thing is like this attracts people, like you guys said. If you slap it on a banner and show it to people, everybody's gonna be like, wait a minute, what's this? Like, you can even use a real life case of this, right? The what's it called, the Iron Harvest game. Just the fact that they advertised the mechs and everybody was like, Max, wait a second, Max. Everybody wanted to know what's going on with this game because they saw mechs.
Right. Do we have anything else to show for the Dead Harvest?
I think there's one more thing.
What do we fucking?
I didn't add the entire animation because again I should have fucking had to clip it or whatever. But the general idea is for this war and this war only, the shotguns are useful.
Oh my god!
Yes, they're gonna basically be back to their old status of actual guns, and they're gonna be extremely good against zombies. In general, you're going to be able to...
What you might find is that this might, I might be giving them too much credit here, but you might find this is a test for putting them back to how they were, because even though how they were was pretty bad in the past, the game is completely different now compared to back then.
Completely different.
If they were to restore the shotgun to its previous bullshittery, then I think the bullshittery would be a lot less today than it was back then.
We just need something that's less than a 50% nerf on the previous reality. Like, that's all.
Yeah.
I mean, what about 75? Can we meet you in the middle, maybe? Like, because I don't think anybody's saying that it's fine now.
Yeah.
I mean, it's bad when even the developers are laughing about how bad one of their, items in the game is. Because like that were their words, like, and finally the shotgun is gonna be useful again, sort of a thing, right? They didn't say it exactly like that, but they meant it 100%, like, and
I'd love to see the stats. I'd love to see the stats for the past year on how many people have actually died from shotguns.
You mean confetti guns, right?
Yeah.
Well, just to end on a positive note, because it is the positive note and a ray of sunshine for everybody. There's gonna be a few changes after people complaining constantly for the past wars about the infighting and the tech splitting and such. So we will actually have a change in the way that taking out vehicles and guns is going to work. So everybody that puts a tech in is contributing to unlocking the tech, right? It's not going to be any more wasted tech. Thank fucking Christ Almighty. And then when a certain number of submissions are in, whatever vehicle on the line has the most tech put into it, that's gonna be the one unlocked, right?
That's fair enough.
Yes.
That's good. And they're removing the fourth layer. You can only take up to 2 lanes down, right? Not the full 3.
Yeah. So basically it's not gonna be, you're not gonna be able to see the tech tree so in depth, which is a plus and a minus at the same time. It's a plus because like people were like just having no common sense and were trying to tech these really low chance vehicles and hurting the entire faction over it because they would fail the attempt, and all of that iron or aluminium would be wasted into nothing. But the downside is, especially for clans like us and other organized groups, the planning around what vehicles are going to come up next is going to be that much harder.
I was about to say, because I think it would be a good thing, because then we stop like those day one mortar half track scenarios. You get me? Like, now there's no chance of it being like as bad as it. You know what I mean? When that first war, when the mortar half tracks were unleashed, it was like, holy fuck. You know what I mean? Like, you guys got to deal with that like a good like almost 2 hours when the war started, and it's like, what the fuck?
Yeah, prototypes were pretty fast.
At risk of being negative, I want to say yes, this is a good thing, and this is good that they're moving this direction. But the iron, aluminum, manual teching for this game is still stupid and bad. And just because they put something a whole lot worse and now they've driven it something that looks a little bit better than absolute garbage does not make this good. This is still a bad system.
Yeah, and I would agree with you. The sunshine here is their willingness to work on it, because like we had in the past and we still have examples of mechanics or like functionalities that we've been complaining since the dawn of Foxhole, and they're still like refusing to even acknowledge there's a issue there as far as I'm aware. So
but I'm just really concerned about this perception. Like, yes, this is improved, and it's improved on being really, really bad, and it's only really bad. Therefore, it's good. That's not the what's going on here. This is still not okay. This is still horrible.
Yeah, the way you get to casting your ballot, because in the end, this is what it is, right? It's still you saying, I would rather have this vehicle available rather than the other two or the other one, right? But
by grinding
to link it to this, well, like, because like grinding there's also good grinding, not in this game, but in general. There's people that like grinding. No, honestly, like I know a lot of people that play grindy games because they like the grind.
I know what you mean.
But why do they like the grind is the question. Why? Because they get something
It's
good
rewarding.
in return, right? That's the reason why they like the grind.
Exactly.
But here, the reward for the grind is you either get or don't get. Remember, there's always an option to fail after the grind. A vehicle that is that was weaker than the.
Might as well drive it in the river.
Yeah, but I was about to say it's another change. Now it's not weaker. Now it's just like similar
You
to.
just can't repair it.
Exactly, you just can't repair it, but it's similar. The stats are the same with the actual vehicle, which again, it's a small step in the right direction. Even though like you said, the system as a whole is still not a good system.
I hope they change the texture of the prototypes because they just look like they're wrong. All they have to do is give it a neutral like bright gray or like a gray like fresh out of the factory unpainted color. Now whatever they have now, it just looks
Just
like a
wash it
texture
out.
resolution. Like the gamma is like messed up on it.
Right.
Then you go to like the vetted ones and it looks like
Incredible.
like it looks nice because it's just a
You know
they
where I
just
see,
messed with the texture.
you know where I want to see a tier 3 vetted bus. Get my golden rims with dollar signs on the rims.
dollar bill painted on the side of it, right?
Yeah. Have MGs out of every window. Sort of thing.
Yeah, I'm gonna move us along to the closing remarks here because we've been on it for a while.
It's been a long one, yeah.
Yeah, I mean there was a lot to talk about, and I'm glad we got to talk about it. It was a lot of points that needed taken off my chest, given attention to.
Yeah.
And again, like I still, although Kaz made sure to kill my optimism, but I still wanna end on an optimistic front that they at least listen to the people yelling at the top of their voices that the way the infighting was going into like let's take this, let's take that. No, we fuck you. I'm just gonna take whatever the fuck I want.
Yeah.
It was like really really horrible. And
I think they recognise that it could, that sort of thing could lead to some real incidents in the community. So it was probably a jump on that straight away rather than later.
I'm glad that they actually did. I'm just, well, I feel like they would if they would have this mentality more often. Like it would just be like we would have no complaints because they have this mentality of there's a problem, we react, bam, done.
I remember the days when we weren't like this, and we loved the devs. They could do no wrong, but now, no, that's out the window. Now every breath they take is a wrong action.
It's like it just makes that one thing they do like, oh my god, this is like the second coming.
I mean, it only went this way because of the lack of not being listened to over several years, So hopefully, people not just agreeing with everything that they say will not fall on deaf ears. We'll see some changes that need to happen.
That being said, what were we saying, Razor? As well.
yeah, no, you can go ahead. I have a last thing that Evie insists on we showing to everybody, but you do the outro and I'll just jump in on you when you're not ready.
All right, guys, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Make sure to. I can't. We need Holland in here so he can just do it so perfectly.
Like and subscribe, guys. My fucking god.
I sprung it on you guys right now.
Razor's got something. Oh my god, what the hell?
It's DK Chan for people that don't know DK Chan.
New emote that's gonna be already in the damn Discord.
All citizens, please report to Hab Blocks for Exterminatus Protocol.
But like, look, it has the Warden faction in like as a button in the. Come, like I'm sorry, this is entertaining and cursed. People are already reacting. This was a fun
I'm
moment.
just checking our Discord right now in case.
Purge your eyes, brothers.
Up, it's already in. Yep.
Don't look, Timmy.
It's not gonna show in the stream, but it's in there.
Right. Memes aside, and leaving on this note of optimism again. I bid you farewell, guys. Kaz, any last words?
I can't follow this up. Good luck, everybody, with the rest of your lives. This has been...
All right, guys, this is the last stream we're ever gonna do. It was a fun run.
Yeah.
Oh wait! No,
What?
surprise! Delete that link. We need to watch that video live. That's one thing I wanted to do.
Oh, okay.
It is funny, like.
This is a
The
special
last
something. Don't
thing.
click on that link. I would just play because we're gonna play it live here.
لازم
It's gonna be
نفجر بس
reaction for some of us.
طاقة ذا ايوه
And,
دخل
it's
خوي
worth it.
هذا انا
اوكي
Funny as fuck, this man.
دخل فيهم
هذا انا
Guys, I think they're launching a nuke.
ليش نحب
What?
نستحي
What?
What, they're launching a nuke?
Yeah, I heard nuke sirens across.
Can you do that in this game?
You can. Oh shit! Everybody get off here now. Look, see, there's a nuke coming. There's a nuke coming in 10 minutes right now.
No, they've not unlocked the What do we need to do? No way.
Thank you for the follow, you non-essential scum.
This is a nuke siren.
Oh, they're all running around thinking there's a nuke going off.
10 minutes from now, the nuke is coming here.
So do we need to run or what do we need to do? To get in the bunker or what?
We can't stop it. We gotta pull out everything now from too much fuss. We gotta pull out everything. This is a code red. Wait, unless
you playing the sound, mate. قاعد تسمعهم تشكلون. Yeah, that's my live. And it's also someone in the train.
That was hilarious. Well done for whoever did that. That was hilarious. Well, kudos to you. Okay, guys. We'll be seeing you next time. Remember to rush out of those foxholes. No sitting idle. Die for the Emperor.
Cook those grenades.
Catch you later, guys.